your ultimate gotcha moment? The time you just knew you had won. I've always despised office presentations. Every single quarter, I'm the one crunching the numbers, while my coworkers just show up to smile and click through the slides. So when our boss, Mr. Henderson, announced the Q3 performance review, I swore I wouldn't let them walk all over me again. He put me on a team with two of the biggest slackers in the company, Brad and Jessica. I thought maybe this time they'd step up, since this presentation could decide our year-end bonuses. I was so naive. I set up a Slack channel that same afternoon. I outlined our goals, gave them specific tasks, and set a hard deadline for Friday. Crickets. I messaged again on Wednesday. Nothing. I even asked Brad about it by the coffee machine. He just gave me this sleazy grin and said, "Relax, man, we'll pull it together." A week passed. The 50-slide deck was due on Monday, and they hadn't contributed a single chart. Every time I tried to schedule a Zoom call, they suddenly had urgent client meetings. I was furious. I had two options: let the team crash and burn, or do what I always did. So I spent my entire weekend glued to my laptop. I pulled all the data, created every single graph, and wrote out the entire script. It was 50 slides of pure perfection. I was exhausted, but man, was I proud. When I saved the final version to our shared drive, I made sure my name was the only one on the title slide. The next morning, an hour before the meeting, my phone started blowing up. It was Brad. When I finally answered, he sounded frantic. "Hey man, we're ready to rock this presentation. Just, make sure you add our names back to the cover slide, okay?" I let out a laugh. "Add your names back? You two didn't do a thing." "Come on, don't be a jerk," he whined. "We're a team." I hung up. 10 minutes later, Jessica cornered me in the break room, acting all sweet. "Hey, so Brad and I can handle the Q&A section if you want to just read the slides." "What slides did you make?" I asked her, deadpan. "Well, we didn't make them, but we're here to present." I told her absolutely not, and walked away. That's when they decided to play dirty. They went straight to Mr. Henderson and claimed I had locked them out of the shared drive and refused to communicate. They said I was trying to steal their thunder. Mr. Henderson called all three of us into his office right before the meeting. He looked disappointed. Brad went first, claiming he had spent hours on the financial projections, but I had deleted his work. Jessica even faked a few tears, talking about how she had worked so hard on the marketing analysis, only for me to take the credit. Mr. Henderson sighed and looked at me. "What do you have to say for yourself?" That's when I smiled. "Hold it." I pulled out my tablet. "Actually, I have something to show you." First, I pulled up the Slack channel. I showed him dozens of messages, all from me, with timestamps proving they had completely ignored my attempts to collaborate. Then, I showed him the version history on the slide deck. Every single edit, every chart, every bullet point had been created by my user ID. The logs proved they hadn't even opened the file until that morning, but I saved the best for last. And just in case, I said, I took screen recordings of the document properties before I uploaded it to the server. The video clearly showed my name as the sole author and creator. The room went dead silent. Mr. Henderson's face turned bright red, and not at me. Let's just say my presentation went great. I got a stellar review and a fat bonus. Brad and Jessica, they were put on probation, and they didn't see a dime.